Welcome to Fear No Evil. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. And that is where the title comes from. I have many candles here to reflect the many survivors that we have in America who may have been sexually abused as children, toddlers, babies, teenagers, as well as for women who have also endured sexual abuse in their marriages, their relationships, their acquaintanceships, at work, sexual harassment. Harassment is just a mild form of abuse. So instead of talking about abuse, we want to say it's harassment. However, sexual harassment falls under the umbrella of sexual abuse. And as I'm watching TV right now, I see Matt and Kanye on TV, and they said that they were sorry. Even Al said he was sorry. Harvey said he was sorry. But I wonder what they're sorry about, because I went through my books and pulled out just some other manifestations that occurs when someone has been sexually violated by somebody else, whether they be in position of power, whether they be the mother or father, uncle, grandfather, brother or sister, colleague, priest, pastor, CEO, janitor, teacher. What are they sorry about? Are they sorry for the psychological effects that may have occurred? How about depression? How about the low self-esteem or the loss of trust? Are they sorry for an anxiety that the survivor may be going through? How about the denial that the abuse even happened in the first place? It's kind of hard to be in denial as a woman if you go tell another woman and the woman agrees with you and then you go tell other women. That's not denial. Denial is really for the child who has been sexually abused or groomed in some way, but they don't really understand what's going on, or they have told someone about the abuse, but they deny the effects that abuse had on them in their lives. Are these men sorry for the intimacy problems they may have caused? How about the hopelessness that these victims feel? How about the family distortion that comes along with these kind of abuses? Sexual acting out? How about any aggression the women may have? How about the control issues that they may have? Are they sorry for any victim mentality that they have put onto their survivors? How about if the survivors feel suicidal? Many children who are sexually abused as children or raped, even survivors of rape, can feel suicidal. So when I hear the LGBT community talk about how people are suicidal, it's kind of hard for the LGBT to actually talk about this suicide rate when they don't talk about the fact that many LGBT members are also sexual abuse survivors. Could that be where some of the suicide thoughts are coming from? We don't know. We have no research. How about survivor guilt? Do these men feel bad that the one who came out and told may have some survivor guilt because they survived getting their job, getting that great paying job, the paycheck, while other women didn't survive? How about any PTSD? PTSD is very common for those who have been sexually violated in some way, especially as children. And even as children, there's a different form of PTSD. We don't hear about the PTSD of the sexual abuse survivors, now do we? We hear PTSD when it comes to war veterans, but we don't really hear it when it comes to sexual abuse survivors. So, America, why is PTSD so bad for the war veterans, but it's not for the sexual abuse survivors? We don't know. We have no research. In fact, children who have been sexually abused, depending on their abuse, depending on how long it was, depending on the age, depending on the gender, depending on who, they can develop chronic shock syndrome, which is a form of PTSD. Are these men sorry for any dissociation the victims may feel or experience? How about any repression of the emotions they may have felt? Are they sorry for any addictions they may have picked up trying to deal with the abuse, the violations, the harassment that happened in their lives? How about their body image problems? How about their memory problems? Because they can't remember everything that happened when the abuse took place. Are they sorry for any fearful thoughts or behaviors that have manifested in the survivor? How about the parenting issues they may have later on in life? Because as a parent, if you've been sexually abused, there's nothing more that can bring up these issues more than being a parent. However, if you are not aware of the abuse in your own life, you possibly cannot connect your parenting issues with the abuse. You have to be able to connect the two. How about any physical responses because of the abuse that occurred? How about when they turn around and re-victimize others because of the abuse? Sleep disorders, sexuality disorders, panic disorders. Are they sorry for any eating disorders that may have occurred, manifested? Any compulsions or obsessions? Any chronic pain? Any shame or reenactment that occurs? And most of all, there's not one survivor who does not go through feeling anger and specifically rage. These are just some of the manifestations. I could just take off psychological effects and do a whole week on just the psychological effects and still never get through all of them. I could go through depression and talk about depression, how it relates to all of this, and do a whole week on that and never get through the depression. Everything that I named has a whole list underneath it of all the manifestations that can occur when you have been sexually abused as a child or sexually violated as an adult. Or we like to say harassment. Harassment is still abuse, America. These are all the manifestations that can occur. So I wonder, what are they really sorry about? Are they even aware that all of these manifestations can occur? I doubt it. Most of America can't recognize it. Most of America can't even recognize when there's a child that's been sexually abused next to them. Because survivors are really good at hiding the effects. Or for children, they don't even remember most of the time. Children have this ability, the body has the ability to hide the abuse until they are able to deal with it. And sometimes they're not able to deal with that until they're 40, 30, 20, years after the abuse has occurred, years after the statute of limitations has passed. So not only do we have a lot of sexual abuse survivors in society, we have a whole lot of perpetrators who've gotten away with it, who still are in our society, who still are regarded as dignified, who are still at the top of America. There's not one side, whether you be Republican or liberal, who can say we're innocent. And there's no way that the liberal side should be trying to make it look like this is just a conservative problem, and the liberals are the ones who are going to step up. Man it all. Take all responsibility. Really? Because when you said you were sorry, which one of these manifestations are you sorry for? I certainly would like to know.